Never ready, light it up. Let it breathe, let it show. Art is never really ready if you never let it go. Christian Navarrete to bring new stars in view. The names you don't know yet, but soon enough you will. It's the Never Ready Podcast.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
You made it.
I know. I was looking for the perfect shirt to be able to wear.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, something friendly, inviting.
We love our Kevin Smith
we
here.
love our Kevin Smith. So, welcome again to the Never Ready Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Navarrete. Today, I'm super excited to have with us film enthusiast, storyteller, co-founder of the nonprofit Film and Media Alliance of Southern Utah, and film critic Adam Mast.
Thank you.
How are you, my
Mr.
friend?
Navarrete. It's so
Get over
great.
here.
Great to see you.
You as well.
You and I go way back.
We do.
This isn't even like you're interviewing a stranger. We've had many great adventures through the years.
I'm trying not to consider it like a cheat code in a sense, because I feel like a lot of the people I have interviewed so far are good friends.
Oh, that's good.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't. It's just
Yeah.
I wanted to do something fun and involve people in what we're doing as far as art, and I figured this was a good way to go about it. So,
Yeah, love it.
So thanks for coming down today.
Thanks for having me.
The first time I remember anything about you was reading, what was it, in The Independent? Was that what it was always called, The Independent?
Yeah, when it first started, it was actually called The Revolution.
The Revolution?
For a few months. That was 1996.
It was like
a long time.
the local paper, and it was, I believe, maybe created by Josh Warburton.
Josh Warburton,
Right?
Yep.
He was the creator and publisher of this paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing your name in a critique, a film critique?
Yeah, it probably, yeah. Do you remember the first thing you read that I wrote?
That's the thing.
When was it?
It was about the same time I was reading the Bowman's articles.
Okay, yeah, so it would have been in the 2000s.
So it was probably still called The Revolution, you think?
No, because it was called The Revolution when it started in 1996.
Okay.
And that in that same year, they changed it to The Independent. I started, you know what?
What?
What's today? Is today it's 30 years this month. I've been writing for
Serious?
The Independent 30 years this month.
What?
I think the first review I wrote was Mission Impossible in 1996 with Tom Cruise. I think that's
amazing.
it's insane. I think you may have come to it after that because
I think so. Yeah, it was a year after that initial one.
Yeah.
I remember coming to.
I've got some years on you, so you were probably yay high when I started that paper.
You only have about 9 years on me?
Are you that old?
I am 44.
Wow. Where did the years go?
I don't know.
It's so crazy.
I don't know. It's just this gray hair doesn't want to come as fast as
You don't
everyone
even
else.
look at this.
Well, you have the Santa Claus thing going on, which is
I like
amazing. It's very
I-
friendly.
Yeah, you refer to me as Santa Claus. That's fine. I'm the Santa Claus of the film community
You
here
are.
in St. George.
Yeah, we need one
Yeah.
of those. We need all sorts of
I
Santas.
appreciate that. Yeah, long time with The Independent, and I really only started because, as you well know, I love movies, and it was just a great excuse to watch everything and have a purpose.
Yeah.
I certainly don't like knocking other people's art, but let's face it. If you have an opinion, you're a critic.
Right.
That makes every one of us a critic, pretty much. I think the key, when I would write reviews early on, my goal was to always come at it from a place of love and giving people a frame of reference with what they were seeing, and to focus more on the things that I liked about it, even if it was something maybe that I didn't care for overall. And you won't catch me that often saying something I really straight up hate. I might have goofy, playful conversations with friends. You and I have talked about
I've seen
stuff.
some.
Oh yeah, we used to go to San Diego Comic-Con all the time.
Yeah.
We'd have these great adventures down there.
I saw some almost murderous fights between you and Jeff Sanders.
Yeah. Well,
No,
it's water under the bridge.
But so the only reason I bring that up is because it's nice to be able to see the differences in what we like in movies. But it's also nice to pull out that passion that someone's so just passionate to justify their film.
Do you remember the what it was?
I
You
wasn't
remember the
bringing
two
it-
films.
I want
We
to
can talk about the two films.
I want to say one was 7.
It's 7 and Silence of the
Silence
Lambs,
of the Lambs.
which are I guess I carelessly suggested that I don't think one film's better than the other, and I maintain that. I love both of those films. Jeff did not agree. I think he likes 7 to a certain extent, and he loves Silence of the Lambs. That's fine. I just think they're both outstanding serial killer movies for wildly different reasons.
I try to figure out which one's more of the feel-good movie on those two.
Oh, clearly 7. What's in the box? Doesn't get any more feel good than
right?
that. Am I right?
It just gives you the warm and cozy.
It just gives you the warm and fuzzies.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it that way now.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy to think at some point, I don't remember if it was David Fincher or Brad Pitt that talked about this, but at one point, somebody in the note-giving department before they set out to make that movie wanted them to put the dog's head in the box.
Okay.
Instead. We're not gonna go into spoiler territory about what's in the box.
Right.
I think by this point, most people know.
Right.
And how they're like, if you do that, it must have been Brad Pitt. He's like, if you do that, I'm not going to be in this film. There's just no way.
Good note, though.
Yeah.
What we got in the end was way better. Anyway.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the movie loses its power if you do something stupid like that.
Right.
I mean, the end of that film, it has such a. Do you remember the last line in that film? It's Morgan Freeman's narration. He says, Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part." And what's in that box is summed up by that line perfectly. The pivotal final line in Silence of the Lambs is, "I'm having an old friend for dinner." So they're both great, both great finales. So
yeah,
love you, Jeff.
No, great,
Anyway.
Both great, fantastic films.
Yeah,
about
I
serial
agree.
killers. So can't argue that.
Yeah,
So.
and I know you're a hardcore David Fincher fan.
Oh, I
You're
love
big time Fight Club, Team Fight Club. Yeah,
Big Fight Club fan. Love that story.
yeah.
But yeah, so 96, writing for The Independent,
Mm-hmm.
read your reviews, just fell in love with your words. I liked it. I liked that you had positive things to say. Sure, you had some negative things. I always figured those were your opinions.
Yeah.
And it always felt one of those things where you really encourage people to like, hey, I just want you to watch this movie. This is what I thought about it. Here's a warning, but please, by all means, watch that. And then obviously there's an email address for you so that anyone could at any point easily just message you and say, you were wrong, or I agree.
And I've had a few of them.
I bet you did.
Just a few,
What would, I guess, thinking about that, like, could you remember one that was like a little bit scary, perhaps?
I'm going to tread lightly here.
Okay.
I wrote a review on a movie called Crimson Peak, which is a Guillermo del Toro ghost film with Hiddleston's in it, and Mia, whose last name I'm not going to screw up on your show, from Alice in Wonderland. It's a film that I did not love.
Okay.
I don't hate it.
Right.
I like the movie. I think it's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
The romance element and the gothic ghost story parts of it just didn't really mesh as well for me, but I still enjoy the film. Anyway, there's a supporting performance in the film. This is where I'll tread lightly.
Okay.
That was kind of distracting to me. It sort of took me out of the movie. Well, this actor actually reached out. Didn't email me, but went on.
You said one of the actors in this film.
In the film, yeah. Now
there's not a lot of actors in that film.
No, but it's fine. And the thing is, let it be known that I actually like this actor. I like this actor. I just felt in this film there was something off. Just for me personally, it's a period piece, and he almost felt too modern. So it distracted me a little bit. That's all. It's just I didn't make a big deal about it in the review. It's just a personal taste thing. So he didn't send me an email. This actor actually commented in the message boards on the site, on the independent site. So to this day, for all I know, this could have been just somebody. It could have been some faking that they were that person.
Okay,
who knows?
For all you know, right?
You know what I mean? You never know.
It's just one of those hard to believe that someone in Hollywood would go out of their way and find.
Why would they waste their
in
time?
St. George, Utah?
Exactly. Why? This is why I've always wondered
if it was legitimate or not.
Was that a fake? And the truth is, look, the truth is, and I'll admit this on your show, I'm easily rattled. I don't have the thickest of skin. I'm very passionate about films and stuff, but I have my flaws like everyone else. And one of them is that This is why I'm careful usually when I write reviews in a public forum. Again, when I'm talking with friends, it's like the gloves can come off and we can have screaming matches, whatever, because your friends
everything will be fine.
Yeah, you're talking to friends about it. But I do try to be careful with certain things that I say, because I'm not in the business of like hurting feelings, or even who am I to, rip on someone's art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to, now that I've made films, I've worked on films, and I've seen both sides of the proverbial coin.
Right.
So,
Hey guys, this is Christian Navarrete from the Never Ready Podcast. I want to take a quick moment today to tell you about my family's restaurant, Ernesto's Mexican Restaurant. That's right, located here at 929 West Sunset Boulevard, Suite 18 at the Phoenix Plaza in Little St. George. We've been serving the St. George community for over 30 years with some of the freshest ingredients my mother, Sylvia, personally selects herself to make sure that the food is made with lots of love and tons of care. Yep, we've been here for quite a long time. But if you're really, really lucky, you'll be served by my amazing cousin, Angie. Angie, let them know what days are we open?
So we're open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Thank you. Welcome.
What a time to be alive.
So if you're in the area and craving some amazing Mexican food, come try us out. We'd love to see you. Temple Bar Productions?
Yeah.
Is that the company that you started years and years ago?
It was always kind of a lark. We were just having fun with it.
Sure.
We took the name from just the fact that we live in southern Utah, and it's a big, predominantly LDS town. And we used to make the drive down to Mesquite, and you'd pass the Temple Bar on the freeway. Remember that?
That's right. Uh-huh.
So I thought, I don't know, something just struck me about that as being funny.
Yeah.
So every time we'd make a gorilla short, I'm sure we'll get into the gorilla challenges here shortly, I would just throw that on the front of it.
But anytime you used or made a movie, you always used that.
I always have that on there. Yeah.
Well, when do you think you started making films and started using that as?
That would have been. I think the first thing was 2002. You remember Bad Ronald?
I love Bad Ronald.
Yeah, Bad Ronald.
At the time you were working at
Tom Tom.
Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm. Tom Tom opened, it opened in the mid-90s. I came in there just as an employee. I'd worked at the Albertsons there on Bluff Street, right next door. So I came on as an employee and then sort of moved up to manager. I was running that store, and I was running the store up in Cedar City as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then eventually the owner it decided it was time to jump ship. So he left, I stepped in and purchased it and tried to keep it going. But I really did it at the worst possible time, because we were going right into this sort of the digital revolution. Yeah. It was a time when Target and Walmart started bringing in sort of, they'd have indie and like punk sections at a super cheap cost. Yes. And you can only try to convince somebody that, you're coming in, you're patronizing us because we care. You can only do that so long. Or like when another big corporate business is selling something at $10 and you can't sell it for less than $13.99, you have to see the writing on the wall. No. Exactly. So it was rough. It's one of the greatest one of the best times of my life running that store. Yeah. And I think you may have.
I went in there a few times.
Yeah.
I liked the song The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I was dating my girlfriend at the time, was my wife now, Brianne, and she thought it'd be fun to go into Tom Tom and get me the CD of whoever sings that. So she pulls out the CD, right? And she buys it, gives it to me for a Christmas.
Yeah.
6 to 7 years come by. I never opened it. I just forgot to. Found it one day, and she kind of has her feelings hurt, right? So I finally opened up the CD. I'm like, fine. I kind of made a big to-do about it. All right, here we go. I take the plastic off, open it up. It's empty.
There's nothing in there?
There's nothing in there.
Did you come and yell at me or something?
No,
You didn't bring it in?
closed by then.
Oh,
You had closed.
man, that's a long time.
It was a long time. And she thought that I had, because I worked at Hollywood Video and I had access to the machine where I could have opened it and then rewrapped it with plastic and sealed it up again. So she always thought that I had taken it out, sealed it, and then just played a prank
on her.
But no, the CD was not in there.
Does seem like something you would do. You were at Hollywood Video. I think I may have gone in there when you were there.
It was right before
at some point.
It was right before they were starting to close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I jumped ship right before these. I think maybe a year before.
Don't you miss that? Not to go off on tangents, but
it's hard not to.
Oh my gosh. Hollywood Video, even Blockbuster, but Rent a Video, like the indie, the mom and pop places, to be able to go in those stores. Like this younger generation, I just feel so old. The younger generation
you said it.
will never know that joy because everything's at your fingertips now. You have all this content on streaming, all this stuff, but that pure magic of walking into a video store and picking what you were going to rent based on the artwork. Like you have no barometer. You don't know what you're going to see, especially with horror films.
Just a synopsis and the
exactly. And look, I love movies in general, but everyone that knows me knows I have a fondness for horror. When you go in those video stores, the artwork in the horror section was always the coolest because it almost never would there be a time where the movie, the content would measure up to that badass cover. But it didn't matter.
Right.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
I miss them too.
Great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me, who is the main actor in Bad Ronald?
Dave Leffler.
Dave Leffler.
God bless him.
Oh,
I love Dave. Dave was such a cool dude. I love that guy. He worked at the store for years and he was just had such a great personality. And when we decided that we wanted to do this filmmaking competition that was happening locally, I started talking to him about it. And he and I would joke that at lunchtime, the middle school kids would come into Albertsons and get stuff in the little food area at Albertsons. And they'd always leave their garbage like out in the flower beds out there. This competition that we took part in. Yeah. The guys that did it, it's for the Eclipse Film Festival back then. Well, they did the Eclipse Film Festival. This was a one-off.
It was the Fackrells, the Villiers,
Jason DeVilliers, Matt Fackrell, all of those guys. And so the way that they structured this competition, it's like a quick turnaround competition. Only with this one, you only had one day. Like everyone met at like 9 a.m. They gave the theme. You had to build your movie around this theme. You had to shoot and edit the movie in camera. You couldn't post edit it. Right. So it was the thing, you'd shoot a clip, pause it, you couldn't do any post editing. Right. The only editing, any sort of post tampering that they would allow you to do is if you wanted to throw in some music and sound effects. But in terms of continuity and the flow of the movie, you had to shoot this thing in sequence. Okay. So it was like, here's the theme at 9 a.m. and I think they showed the movies at 7, something like that. Yeah. So Dave and I came up with this idea. Wouldn't it be funny if we just had this disgruntled music store manager? He's pissed because these kids are leaving their trash in the flower bed. Yeah. So he dispatches his this employee he has that everyone refers to as Bad Ronald, who's this sort of burnout, long hair, mullet, like a hat that says I'm so broke I can't even pay attention or something. I don't know, something like that.
With the soundtrack to Bad to the Bone.
Exactly. Yeah, we had Bad to the Bone in there. We had that in there. That was his big cue music. And then we had like Total Recall and Alien score playing in there during this action scene. So we went and shot this whole action scene where he jumps from a bicycle into the back of the truck and there's this big scuffle and brouhaha. It was
really cool.
It's silly, but a lot of fun.
I was actually in the film festival watching this back then.
I do recall.
I don't remember if we had a movie in it or not. I remember doing one. It might have been the year after, but I do remember being there watching this and going, these guys are awesome. This is fantastic. Yeah. That action sequence. And I was like, how did they not get hurt? Yeah. Obviously you guys are being careful. You can sort of tell.
We were, but
even then it just was exciting. Like, jumping from a bicycle to a truck that's running. Like what?
It was full on guerrilla. And obviously I was I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. It's the film I've seen the most times in my life. Yeah. And a lot of it came out of that. Lonnie and Brandon did a short for that one.
Lonnie Black and Brandon Tippett.
Lonnie Black and Brandon Tippett. Jason DeVilliers and the Fackrells decided to get in on the action. In fact, it was really funny. So they're like, okay, we'll make a movie, but it's only fair that you guys give us a theme. So they had given revenge as the theme to all the filmmakers. And our theme that we gave them was forgiveness. So they made a short that was super entertaining. I like their structure, though, because after these films were made, I think there were maybe 10 to 12 teams made films for this, which is pretty good because it was the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
So what they did is after they screened the films, the audience kind of dictated what the best 3 films were. And the 3 winners got to take part in another competition that was a 24-hour competition, which we did a few months later, I think. Okay. So we placed, I think our film came in 3rd or something like that. Art inspires art, which I've always loved that. Yeah. Is there originality left in movies? It's hard to say, because when you're inspired by somebody, I know you're a huge Kevin Smith fan. Right. That doesn't mean Christian Navarrete is making films that are knockoffs. Right. But you always pay respect to your heroes.
It's hard not to.
Exactly. Yeah. So the truth is, I was really bummed because after the Fackrells and the DeVilliers had done this competition, they all went off to go to film school, like in Pasadena and so forth. So they did the Eclipse Film Festival. I think it went 2 or 3 years, and then it kind of disappeared. Yeah. But the thing that I kept going back to was the filmmaking competition. It really bummed me out that we didn't have it. And I tell people this all the time. I mean, they were the impetus of that. They're the reason that I started the Guerrilla Filmmaking Challenge. Right. Because I was like, no, people need this. Like, it doesn't matter if it's amateur or somebody makes a crappy movie. It's all about learning and growing and evolving and that whole thing. So that's kind of why we started Guerrilla.
You started the Guerrilla Filmmaking Competition a few years after.
Yeah, I think it was 2005.
2005
was our first one. Because we just had our 20th a couple of years back.
Like, what did that look like the first year? Like, what is the?
It was really interesting. I didn't know how it was going to pan out. I knew I wanted it. I had such a fun time doing it, and I'm like, other people should experience this. And we've got a lot of community theater in town, but there's not a lot of film type stuff. Right. So I'm like, this is the kind of thing I would totally want to do if I wasn't the one like sort of spearheading it. Right. So I say we, it really was just me. I was like, how am I going to do this? And at the time I had the Independent as a resource because I was writing for the paper. I was working at the music store. So I had a lot of different age groups as friends because of the music store,
which connections.
Yeah. So I had all these resources. And the internet stuff kind of was just happening. Yeah. So it was like, let's try this and see what happens. So in the fall of 2005, we did the first one. We didn't have I think we maybe only had like 4 or 5 people do it. Really? Is all. Okay. I think Lonnie and Brandon did it. I think Sean Lebrecht was part of that first one. Okay. Because he was kind of, I guess if I had a right-hand man, it would have been Sean, because he was the one that was sort of helping me with the tech part of it, because I'm not very astute when it comes
savvy.
to not when it comes to
very, yeah.
And I mean, at the time, at that time, it wasn't like it is now where we get to put on these pretty lavish programs. You know what I'm saying? We get to, it's really like a movie event when we do these premieres now. But back then it's like, each film was on its own like disc or whatever. And we'd have to switch it. It was pretty.
Back when burning discs we'd still do that
happening.
Yeah, we're still
exactly.
Movies onto discs,
and it was cool. There was a cool thing about it. But it started to grow, and you've done them several times through the years now, and now. We've kind of, all of us have sort of created this cool, like little community. And it's really cool. Everyone jumps in.
Are there almost every year. Some people coming.
Lonnie and Brandon have never missed one.
Have not missed one competition the entire time.
Yeah. And we've done
2005.
Exactly. Yeah. And in 2005, we were doing them twice a year. We do one in the fall, and then we do one in the summer. And then in 2010, we threw the Christmas one into the mix, which we have since stopped just because Christmas is such a busy time of year.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where it broke my heart to stop, because one of the things we've always enjoyed is in the fall edition. The fall edition one has now kind of traditionally become like the horror one, where, people go off and they make their horror films because we're going into Halloween. And then the spring one, we kind of did a summer movie motif where we got the big summer movie season coming out. So let's let people sort of explore that thing. And the holiday one was cool because you get to show a whole other side.
Like the warm, fuzzy side of what you can create, while you're like the darker side of that.
I was going to say,
thing,
you learn pretty quickly. Some people don't want to do warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
I get it. Some people are not Christmas people.
Right.
Some people are Christmas people.
And they could choose not to do it at that point.
Yeah. Or stretch yourself creatively.
Right.
You're a funny dude, and you have a particular way of that you like to do things.
Right.
But even you would do, I've seen a bunch of stuff show a lot of different range.
Yeah.
And I think if any storyteller, they're not going to want to do the same thing over and over.
Right.
And they need to look at it more like that. I shouldn't look at this as like I'm being backed into a corner and I have to do this thing. It's like, no, how can I do this thing and make it that thing, but also make it me at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just stay in one genre of, film and stretch yourself. And
Exactly.
just be creative.
Look, I love a splatterfest not as much as the next guy, but you know what? I have a soft side. I mean, I made a film of Tanya and I actually wrote a guerrilla short about our daughter, about the birth of our daughter.
Mackenzie.
To get personal for a moment.
Yeah.
Mackenzie she's going to be 28 here in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
She was born in 1998. And she was born at 22 weeks, which is
wow. That's way early.
I mean, it's way early. I mean, for the longest time they'd say, you at 24 weeks you're cutting it close. Yeah. It's not viable before that.
That's scary.
No, we don't know why. No reason. Really, one of the doctors even said this is bad luck. There's nothing you could have done to prevent this. And so she came early, and she was 1 pound, 2 ounces. She got really sick, dropped to 10 ounces. Wow. It's pretty scary. Touch and go. First 6 months, she was in ICU. But we wouldn't, as horrible as that experience was, we're fortunate that she made it. And I always kind of thought, man, I'd love to make some kind of a movie about Mackenzie. So Tanya and I actually wrote a short about her called 22 Weeks. And it was just sort of this, a look at that whole ordeal. Now Tanya and I wrote it, and we're like, we're not going to be in this. It's too close to us. But and I'm not proud of we made the movie, and I'm proud of it. I'm not proud of it from a technical aspect. Like, I don't like the way that I shot it. And a lot of it's super amateur.
You shot it guerrilla style because you had a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
if you had your way, you would have shot it with a much longer timeline and shot it beautifully. Like,
exactly.
Elaborately.
But the thing is, as amateur as the short is, the heart of it is still there. Right. We show people the movie, and they know our situation. They're not looking at that movie saying, "Oh my gosh, this movie's awful." They're like, it cuts through, and you can see the heart of it. That's another thing I love about not just guerrilla, but film in general.
Right.
It's that cathartic thing that happens when you're telling a story. Writers write what they know, as you well know.
Right.
And I feel like anytime you're putting something together, part of your heart, a piece of you is in whatever. Yeah. No matter what it is. It could be a movie about a serial killer like Seven or Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
It could be anything. And the writer there's going to be a piece of their heart in there somewhere.
I mean, rarely is it like AI where you just kind of feel like you're putting in prompts. And then,
exactly.
That's the only thing with that is like that heart, It's hard not to put your love into it. Even if you just came up with the concept as a joke, once you start to take it seriously, it's hard to not, if you want to be proud of it, it's hard not to give it your all.
Exactly. And I think the same truth could be said. I'm not an actor, but I know a lot of actors. I have such respect for actors. And I think a lot of actors will tell you there's always a piece of them in there somewhere, no matter, I don't care who it is. If it's Daniel Day-Lewis, who is Bill the Butcher every day on set,
Right.
every day of that shoot, like he's very method. You've heard the tales. That Daniel Day-Lewis is still in there somewhere, and he's going to be the first guy that's going to tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, how could it not be? At the end of the day, it is pretend.
That's funny.
It's so interesting to hear actors talk about this stuff. There's that great story of Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier did a movie called Marathon Man. Dustin Hoffman just stayed up for hours on end to really get this disheveled thing going. And Laurence Olivier just is more of a Shakespearean actor, and he's like, they kind of got into a confrontation about it,
right.
and Laurence Olivier is like, you look like you haven't slept in days, and Hoffman's like, I haven't, and Laurence Olivier's like, well, why? And he's like, well, I'm getting into character, and Laurence Olivier famously said, and I'm paraphrasing here, my son, it's called acting. Yeah. Something like that.
It's pretend.
Yeah. So it's so interesting to see how different actors approach the material. You even hear stories like, have you ever watched Succession?
Yeah. Succession.
Jeremy Strong and Brian Cox allegedly had a little bit of friction because Jeremy Strong is known to be pretty method, and Brian Cox is like, it's acting, like, so I guess the point I'm making, personally, I don't think there's any wrong way or right way. Right. It's whatever way works for you. Yeah. And some people go nuts. Like Brad Pitt got his freaking tooth chipped for 12 Monkeys. Like he wanted to really get into it. Yeah. And it's a great performance. He got nominated for it. It's
one of those hard things to argue, because I mean, I see people going into method, and to me, I can see where other people are going, it's just pretend. And I can see that coming from like a safety stance. Yeah. Like, we don't want you to hurt yourself, for your love of this. Right. But I can understand also a person being in the method of saying, I just don't feel like it's going to be believable unless I feel the experience myself. Because there's this fine line between, how can I act that I've done this or I'm doing this if I've never actually done it or been doing this? Like, right. I can't pull from experience. And then those of us, who come from safety, we're like, well, but can't you imagine what that would feel like? Exactly. I'm sure it would hurt, right? Yeah. It comes down to that simplest of, well, it's a good way to think about it. But yeah, it's crazy. But and some actors will tell you this movie was rough. Linda Blair did The Exorcist when she was a kid, and it did quite a number on her. It's an intense movie for a kid to be. I'm sure being on the set and looking at the final product, they're two entirely different animals. Yeah. But yeah, you'll hear some actors say, yeah, it was emotionally draining. It took a lot out of me, and I wouldn't do that again. And even Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, that guy, he doesn't do like 2 or 3 movies a year. Mm-mm. Like there's, one movie every couple of years. Yeah. Of that. And now he's semi-retired. Yeah. And he came out of retirement a couple of years back for a movie that his son directed. But then you'll hear Paul Thomas Anderson talk about working with him on There Will Be Blood. Mm-hmm. Just that it was almost helpful that Lewis would be Daniel Plainview. Like it helps shape. Yeah, inform what's going on, everything, like from day to day. So it's like he had a roadmap, but then he had a compass. Exactly. Like Daniel Lewis was his compass. Like, let me actually tell you where to go and how to get the best out of this trip. Right. But at the same time, does that mean that Daniel Day-Lewis is like better than like Brian Cox or any of these other actors? And Daniel Day-Lewis is other actors have done it. I mean, Robert De Niro, when he did Raging Bull, right? He gained all that weight to play Jake LaMotta, and really transform himself. So it's such an interesting to see how different actors work, and how directors direct them and how they work together. Right. Like it's really fascinating, because you'll get a guy like a James Cameron or a Michael Bay, who are in their prime, are considered like these diva type, not divas, but just really blowhards. It's my way or get the F out type of mentality. And you don't hear those stories. Or they might keep it under wraps, but you don't hear the stories of like, I can't work with this guy as much anymore. Well, even James Cameron, I've seen, we live in the era of podcasts. That's why one of the reasons I love that you're doing this. You can never have too many podcasts. Right? It's just fun to listen to people talk about this stuff. But a lot of people that have worked with James Cameron, like Michael Biehn, who played
who played Reese in the original Terminator. He has a podcast now. All these guys have podcasts, and they talk about how James Cameron has softened a little. He's come out and said, yeah, maybe some of the stuff I was doing on The Abyss, like I could see maybe it was a little too intense. But James Cameron's also a guy that's always led by example, though. Yeah. Like, he's not the guy that's gonna like tell you to do this if he's not willing to do it himself. I really believe that. He says that, and I believe that because he's done it. That when they were shooting The Abyss, they were underwater all the time, using all the scuba apparatuses and all this stuff. And Ed Harris says he'd never work with him again because he almost died when they shot that and all this stuff. But then you got a guy like Clint Eastwood, who is so, I hear, soft-spoken, a guy who is very about, the big part of my job as a director is in the casting. Yeah. This is, Clint Eastwood wants to pick the right people, and then he doesn't say the movie then directs itself, but that's kind of what he's getting at. If you're getting the right actors, because it's not just always about the right actor for the right part. There's other variables. It's like the working relationship, all of that stuff. There's so many different things going on. But Clint Eastwood, it's so cool. I hear a lot of times when he's shooting, he doesn't even say direct. He's like,
he didn't say action?
No, he doesn't say, sorry, action. Exactly.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, we're in this zone. Yeah. Let's just sort of let things go.
And I hear he doesn't like to waste takes.
No, like 2 or 3 takes and that's it.
Sometimes Meanwhile, one. I've heard that he's like
one. Yeah.
I can't remember what actor just said that he worked on getting this accent for the movie. I think it was
it Matt Damon?
Matt Damon saying that he worked so hard to get this one thing, this accent, and then he did it. And then they said, "All right, moving on." And he came back and was like, I tried it a couple times. Do you want to waste everyone's day?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then you've got your David Finchers and Stanley Kubricks, who are arguably freaking geniuses. These guys are geniuses. 50, 40, 60, 70 takes. Eyes Wide Shut went wildly over schedule, and Tom Cruise, there's the speculation that he almost had a nervous breakdown when they're shooting this movie and stuff. But he speaks fondly of it. Loves the experience, says has nothing but nice things to say about it. He's like, look, Nicole Kidman and I worked with a legend. It's worth all of that heartache. So anyway, creative process is an interesting one.
We've talked about the Gorilla.
Yep.
And we've talked about Horror Fest. And it feels like this was the crux of what ended up becoming FMASU, the Film and Media Alliance of Southern Utah.
You nailed the acronym, by the way. It does not roll off the tongue.
It doesn't, but
John and I have had to teach each other to say FMASU. It just does not come naturally.
Well, when I'm thinking about it, I can't.
Exactly.
Like deeply, right?
Exactly.
So, but when did Horror Fest become?
Yeah, it's interesting because as we talked about Gorilla was just something I wanted to stick around because the other guys moved away and did film school, and I wanted to see it stay, so we kind of brought that back. And then in the early 2000s, 2002, I think, just when I was writing with The Independent, I was really good friends with the Bone Man, and he and I actually started a website called it was zboneman.com, and he did the humorous columns and I did the movie reviews. So when we were doing that, I actually told the Bone Man, I'm like, you know what? I love horror. It'd be really cool to do like some kind of a horror film festival where we just show old school horror movies to a generation of kids that maybe had never been able to experience them on the big screen, or maybe never seen them at all. Right. So that's just, I started Horror Fest initially for purely selfish reasons because I loved horror movies. I'm like, I want to just share like really cool horror movies with people and see if we can get it to grow and become this cool little community thing. So the first couple of years we did it at the Zion Canyon Giant Screen.
Oh, okay.
Like, wow. Yeah, way back in the day. And we showed I think those first couple of years we showed Aliens, Evil Dead 2, The Exorcist, Creep Show, The Shining. Gosh, it was so long.
Some true classics.
A couple of the films are escaping me. We did really well. Back in those days, it was nice because even though we did it all the way out there, people from St. George drove up because it was a little off the grid adventure. Uh-huh. They got to drive up there. This is before the home theater explosion thing happened. So you could still get people to go over and watch movies in a theater because they weren't, even the DVD and Blu-ray thing was not as huge as it is now.
Right.
So you could sell them on this adventure. So that's how it started. So Horror Fest would continue. Guerrilla would continue. I just kind of kept doing them, and John Pugh and I became really good friends.
Yes.
And he kept to his great credit, the nonprofit really was his idea. He's like, you've been doing all of this stuff. Maybe we should create this organization that's sort of the umbrella under which all these other things sort of fall.
Okay.
So in 2017. We'd been flirting with the idea for a while. In 2017, we tried. We thought, well, let's see if we could do it. So we went and did the paperwork, got everything together. So in 2017, I believe in 2018, about a year after we started the nonprofit, John always wanted to do another festival that was more broad. It wasn't genre specific, more like a miniature Sundance. So Desert-Scape was born out of that.
There we go. Desert-Scape.
So
yes.
Yeah. And then the Electric Film Series came into the fold. So we've got this 501c3 nonprofit, the Film Media Alliance of Southern Utah. We've got Desert-Scape. We've got Horror Fest. We've got the Guerrilla Film Challenges, which we're doing 3 times per year. So all of these things are under the umbrella. And it's a lot. We probably bit off more than we can chew. And it's not because we wanted to, we're power hungry or something. It's just, we wanted there to be different facets of what we do.
Yeah.
So Guerrilla is essentially, it really was designed for the novice. The person that wants to make a film, not sure how to get their feet wet, really how to do it. But through the years, it's become more than that because we get newbies doing it, which we love. We love seeing new faces. Yeah. That's what it's about. But we also have this other thing of filmmakers who are older that are doing their 9-to-5 jobs. They have their careers, but they still want to make films because it helps keep them sane.
Juice,
They want to do it.
Gives us a reason, man.
Exactly. So they're doing it. But then you even got people who maybe are in the industry and they're just doing it to keep the creative juices flowing. We've had Corbin Allred and Ryan Little and lots of people that are industry level people come and do it just to as an avenue to keep things going. And the cool thing when they come on board, they may not know this, but they're inspiring the other people that just because it's a quick turnaround doesn't mean it needs to be this little amateur throwaway thing.
No, by far. With
all due respect to those people too, though, the people that are just starting out, you need to learn somewhere. Yeah. Make your mistakes. Go in there, make your mistakes, learn how to work with other people.
Right.
It's not film school. It's not the way they make movies professionally. You're not working with an AD and, gaffers and grips and all this other stuff. A lot of people are jumping in and helping one another, but the concept, you're still making a story. At the end of the day, that's what the whole thing's about. And just to set the stage, I know we're kind of going into FMASU as a whole, but with Guerrilla, the way the whole thing works is we invite filmmakers of all ages and all skill sets to take part. We give filmmaking teams a topic, and then they have a certain amount of time. Generally, it's 4 weeks. We don't like to do the 3-day thing because we feel that that's daunting, especially somebody that's just starting.
Right.
Even though as well as I do.
It can be exciting.
Well, most people squander that time though. Even though it's not a 3-day competition, most people they procrastinate and because you sometimes can't force an idea. Sometimes it comes in the craziest time.
Yeah, no, we all know that.
And you end up taking just the 3 days to make the movie. Sometimes, but sometimes some filmmakers do. They'll the minute they get that topic, they're running off, they're penning their idea, and they try to get the movie shot, and then they just put the movie aside for a little while, and then they go in, they tinker with it and try and get it ready by the deadline and all this stuff. So you've got your Guerrilla, which is fun for that reason. Yeah. It's very educational, it's adventurous, it's like out of the frying pan into fire, basically. So we've got that facet of FMASU. We've got the Electric Film Series, which is we do these screenings the third Tuesday of every month. They're free. We do it for the community. But while we're about education and, filmmaking, we are also film history, the preservation of film history is really important to us. And so is preserving the theatrical experience, because that whole world is in a heap load of trouble. After COVID, it really did a number on a lot of industry.
Yeah.
But particularly the film industry. And we want to show people that we really do with the Electric Film Series, want to show people the magic of the movies and making going to the movies an experience. And so the way we've structured the film series is, over the course of a calendar year, we start in January. Each month we do showcase a movie from a different decade, so that when that calendar year comes to a close, you're experiencing like this over a century of film, like the evolution of film. And obviously it's really difficult to pick one movie that, sums up an entire decade. But I think we're in our 6th year on the film series now.
Oh, wow.
And we're always really proud of the lineups. There is a bit of selfishness to it. Like we do listen to what the attendees say, and we always take that stuff to heart. And when we're trying to put the movies down to paper, it's not easy. Like John and I will have these lists, these epic lists, especially when you're getting into the 70s and 80s and 90s, because that's part of my generation. I grew up on it.
Yeah, you remember
it's
the most.
not easy to pick movies in those particular decades.
Well, to fight between which one you're going to pick.
Yeah, you also have to be mindful of attendees. You do want to give them a good time, but we show these films, but we also, each screening we bring out a special guest to intro the movie and to host a post-screening discussion, so that people are they're learning too. But it's all about the entertainment, but it's also about learning and sharing insight, give people insight into how these films were made, fun little anecdotes about the films and so forth. Jason Jackson and his wife Laura have created Red Carpet Cinema.
Okay.
So they've got their own organization. We work in close proximity with them all the time. Just did a thing with them this weekend called Gems, which was 2 days of silent films, which was incredible. And those guys, they know the classics. They love films, period,
they really do.
They know the classics. And Bo Stuckey, who works with them, he's a genius. They know so much about the classics. But yeah, the film series is another facet of what we do, which is more about the movie going experience part of it.
Okay.
And learning about these big movies, how they're made and so forth. Then we go into the international film festivals, of which we have 2, which are Desert-Ep3, which I mentioned to you before, is sort of like a miniature Sundance in our own backyard, which is shorts and feature films from all around the world. It's not guerrilla, it's not community, it's not local. We want it to be another tier of what we're doing, like another level.
Oh, it is.
So that people can see these different facets. If they come to our events, they're getting a wide breadth of types of film
experiences.
Yeah.
You brought so much. Yeah.
Well, that's the goal. We love movies so much, and we genuinely do love filmmakers. Yeah. And I like to dabble too. I'm a storyteller, but I do find that there's so much negativity in the world. A lot of it, it's especially with art, and we want to be the opposite of that. We want to. Obviously, you can't tell everyone yes. We can't show every movie that gets submitted to us. But it is important to us that the people whose work we do show, they should feel valued. And we want to be a cheerleader for that and create a platform to that. It means the world to us, and that's why we do what we do. And the international film festivals, you've come out to some of them.
Yeah, I have.
We've been fortunate enough to... They're not where we want them to be, but they are growing. Like we want the community to embrace it, but we want to bring people from other areas, filmmakers and attendees. We bring out special guests and the whole thing. It's a lot of fun.
So as you mentioned with that the Eclipse Film Festival was the crux of what you ended up doing with FMASU and Desert-Ep3 and
kind
series,
of Eclipse. Right? I think Eclipse went 2 or 3 years back there in the early 2000s, and they did a cool thing. I liked where they were going, and definitely, I think when John came up with the Desert-Ep3 idea, he was thinking, we should have a festival like that. It should be noted, we're not the only. There are other film festivals.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's I think Red Rock Film Festival. There's Doc Utah. Which is amazing. Tons of film festivals up north.
You were mentioning earlier that you ended up showcasing
Kanab Film Festival.
Kanab. Well, you were talking about how you ended up when you were doing the film series originally. When you showed Aliens and those earlier films.
Those are like repertory screenings
that you did that out at the Zion Lodge.
Yeah, and I guess we did skim over that after this. We ended up
to talk
so much,
so deep into everything.
Right. So the first 2 years we did Horror Fest at Zion Canyon Giant Screen.
Right.
Then the action shifted to St. George. Right. So we were doing Horror Fest in St. George. It was a variation of what we had did at the Zion Canyon Giant Screen,
right,
where it was all repertory. Then it transitioned into a international film festival like Desert-Ep3 did.
Right.
The Red Rock Film Festival has hosted screenings up there, but the Zion Canyon Giant Screen's gone. Desert-Ep3 coming at you.
The only other film festival I've been to in Utah is Sundance, and I think we've surpassed it.
I love Desert-Ep3.
Incredible blog. It was awesome.
They treat us well here at Desert-Ep3, so they got a great lineup, and this was a good way to end it.
7 years ago, again, we transitioned it into a international film festival.
Yeah.
So it's no longer repertory screenings. However, we do show, we'll show an old film. Okay. Because to us, we want to show how the old guard made way for the new filmmakers. You know what I'm saying? And so we try to do that. We try to do a mix. We'll show a couple of old school movies, but we'll invite filmmakers from all over the world to submit. And again, I'm so glad you do this podcast, because I don't really get to talk about specifics like this, that the international film festivals, again, they're a complete separate entity from Guerrilla. When we're putting these festivals together, we really are looking for the best of the best, because again, we want variety at the different FMASU events, and we want to show, these guerrilla filmmakers, if you keep working hard, you can go industry level. Mm-hmm. And you can, maybe someday some of these guerrilla filmmakers that are just starting out, the years down the line, they'll have a film that's on the festival circuit and they'll play at a different level.
Well, and like you mentioned, so I've attended some of these film festivals, and to add to that, I do love the fact that when we do join the guerrilla competition, mm-hmm. whether or not we win, we do get a ticket to attend the Desert-Ep3 International Film Festival. I love that because, again, and sometimes I'm not always available to just do that.
It's hard.
So I do like to get that pass, because then I can go. And I have been able to, I took a lunch break, or I took the day off work so I can go for a few hours.
Right.
And I've been able to witness these movies. And as you mentioned, you're looking for some of the best things to represent, what the International Film Festival is. And there is a lot of great movies coming to your film festival. You get early showings of certain things.
Well, at Desert-Ep3, we just closed Desert-Ep3 in early April with a new movie coming out from Lionsgate called Power Ballad. It has Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas in it. It's from director John Carney, who made Once and Sing Street, great filmmaker.
Great film.
So, but we want to do a mix. We want to have, because we recognize that there's this whole world of films that are probably not going to get theatrical release. You know, all this stuff out there that you and I'll never know. There's some genius. There's some David Fincher or Steven Spielberg or Scorsese or Hitchcock or whatever that we're never going to know because they never got that shot. Like, this is why talent is obviously key, but there is luck. It's being in that right place at that right time, finding that person that's helping you get that moment to get that stuff up there, out there so that people are going to see it. And I think this is what makes film festivals special, because that is that place where you might see something that you're never going to see otherwise, especially with short films.
Right.
Because there is no way to watch short films.
No.
And now there's this whole other up and coming flock of filmmakers. Just this weekend, there's a film called Obsession that opened from Curry Barker, who's a YouTuber guy.
Okay.
And this movie is catching fire. There's a movie called Backrooms coming out that's made by a YouTuber.
And that's based on some old
stuff. This guy was like 16 when he's 20 now. He's young. He's a kid, comparatively speaking. Iron Lung, the gamer, the YouTuber guy that struck gold. But anyway, So
one thing I wanted to mention also, just with the movies and the film festival, that I really like about what you do is sometimes the judges for these guerrilla film festivals will in fact be some of the directors of the movies that showed up in the International Film Festival.
So glad you brought that up.
Sorry, it's a long way to get there, but I love that so much.
This is another thing that has just evolved out of what John and I have been trying to do. And like with Desert-Scape specifically, like in the springtime, we do our Guerrilla Challenge, and we usually do it like a month before the festival, before the Desert-Scape Festival comes out. Yeah. So we will reach out to a handful of the filmmakers that have been accepted to Desert-Scape, and we're like, look, we know you're busy, but so we do this community-based thing of where we're, trying to give filmmakers an opportunity to go off and make short films. Would you be willing to like judge these, because it would mean a lot to these filmmakers that are just starting out, just learning, and to have their work looked upon by somebody like with industry credibility or somebody
it means a lot.
On their way up.
Oh, heck yeah.
It means the world. And some of these filmmakers, to their credit, they're so great. Just the fact that they would agree to dedicate their time. And often they'll record little messages that we play at the Guerrilla.
I love that.
But it's a great way to tie in and to really get. You don't need motivation because you've been doing it for a long time.
Well, we need the motivation.
Everyone could use the little light the fire under their ass. But some filmmakers, you also have filmmakers who don't care. They just want to go make a movie to have fun. Right. That's fine too. There's if it makes you happy. I'm of the opinion, this may be naive to say, I think that art is incredibly valuable. I think that it, in a weird way, not even weird, I do think art can save lives. I think if somebody's going through a rough time, some people might write a song to get over it. They might make a movie, or they might, want to go do community theater, which is also great. And I don't want to go off on a tangent,
which you're also involved in.
Well, I wanted to say, so like, that stuff is hard. Like I love making movies and making art, but because I've sort of chosen this other thing of where John and I are trying to, and it's not even just John and I, we have a lot of amazing people that help us, but
he's the closest person you have, like as your partner,
Yeah. This is why I'm very big on like co-founder.
I try to pull out certain people from you because I know they're close by, but there are a lot of people that we would talk about if
100%.
Yeah.
Even you, there are a lot of people that help. That it's there's no I in team. I know that sounds cheesy and pretentious, but it's
the truth.
It absolutely is the truth. And because we've been so entrenched in doing that stuff, we don't really have a lot of opportunities to go off and make our own stuff, which is sad because I do miss it sometimes. But at the same time, I'm so inspired by the talent of other people that I'm around. I almost feel it's almost more important to me that those people get that nudge that they need.
Yeah. And you very much push us to do that. And I think a lot of us in the end of our movies, a lot of us will thank you because we just are happy to have someone to nudge us and give us a reason to do something.
And it's, validation.
Artistic.
I think validation, like
super important.
it is. And I don't think it's, I know a lot of people would poo-poo that idea, but I think it's just a natural, like that's more important to me than money or like any kind of fame or anything. Sometimes a person just wants to feel valued, Yeah. And that's why when you make art, when you make a movie, with Guerrilla, we give awards and stuff, which sucks because I don't like that part of it.
Right.
Because I think it sends the wrong message. The reason we call it the Guerrilla Filmmaking Challenge, by the way, is it's not about the competition and the challenge. That word challenge, it doesn't mean a challenge between you and other people. It's about yourself, like challenging yourself.
Right.
That's why there's a distinction. We didn't want to call it the Guerrilla Filmmaking Competition. We wanted to call it the Guerrilla Filmmaking Challenge for that very reason.
Good distinction.
And I feel like that's an important thing. But I got sidetracked. Yes, I have like, I did Christmas Story for St. George Musical Theater.
That's right. You directed that,
which was super intense.
And you directed it as well about 8 years ago.
8 years ago, and it would not. I wouldn't say yes to just any show. I have
you have
such
so much love for this.
I do. I do.
Love this
and
movie.
you really stepped up to the plate because we were double casting the show, and we had Richard Rose playing a couple of roles, and you thankfully, actually, I don't know if I told you this. Richard suggested you.
I remember that.
And I
thought it was fantastic.
When he told me that, I'm like, why the hell didn't I reach out to Christian in the first place? And of course, you nailed it. And if it weren't for, I think guys like you and Richard, everyone that was part of that production, that if you don't have the right people, it's a house of cards that falls apart. Like that is a super stressful doing those things.
Beautiful.
And it came out
come together.
Yeah, it's incredible. And watching and watching you guys work together, like, because sometimes you're fly by the seat of your pants. Like you're supposed to, they say with a director especially, never let them see you sweat.
Right.
Like that. Even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, don't tell them that.
Yeah, the soggiest looking clothes that day.
Oh my God.
No,
but man, what a great experience. And watching like you guys help each other. I watch you and Richard, like the whole sequence where you're tying Miss Shields to the desk and all, like just getting those beats down.
So fun.
And it really was two different shows. Like watching you play the
Hispanic waiter.
Hispanic waiter.
It was fun. And
then Richard puts his Scottish spin on it.
Oh, I got to see that twice, and I loved watching him do that.
Yeah, it's fun watching you guys both do it. And Santa, you guys both brought your own energy to Santa. I told you thank you for that show 1,000 times, but you can never say thank you enough. It was great.
I guess an insight of that was I remember hearing that it was happening, that you were doing the production, and I was just like, oh, it's fantastic. I remember you did that a couple of years and I saw it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking to myself, because I was in Clue, or I was coming out of Clue, my first play.
Yeah.
I was coming out of Clue, and I was just thinking to myself, oh man, that'd be so cool if I could have been in that play at some point.
And then I called you.
You called me, and I was just like, wow, dreams really do come true.
Yeah. Subsequently,
I really was thinking of that.
Subsequently, you worked with Rachel Rose in Clue, who was Richard's wife, and she played one of the moms in Christmas Story.
She did.
She's incredible.
She was very grateful and so happy to be playing the mother in that role.
She was amazing.
And she did such a great job.
All of them, her
so much energy.
And double casting those roles, and to watch them both bring a different kind of vibe to it.
Megan did a great job as a mom.
Meg was great. And then it was John Tanner and Taylor Wilkes, who was outstanding. He so embodies the spirit of that.
The dad?
Darren McGavin. I could tell how much he loves Darren McGavin. John Tanner is just a freaking pro. The guy, I would have been screwed without all of you guys. You guys were so together, and the kids were great. It was an awesome experience.
Through all these things, you've put all these things together. Obviously, you're never alone. You've got support of John, all the countless people that There's so many names.
The wife.
Yes,
the family.
most important things.
Of course.
I started with the bottom and went to the top, right?
Always.
But through all these things, and so many hardships, and as you mentioned, so you're the father of a child with special needs.
Yeah, we have 4 kids. Mackenzie's the oldest. She's in a wheelchair. She's
this
amazing.
is the question of, I don't know if I've ever actually just asked you this, but I've always wondered, how the hell do you balance all that?
It's really hard.
Like, how do you do it?
Well, the thing is, Tanya is probably the most supportive, compassionate person that I've ever known in my life. And I mean, you've got Bree and Heather is sweetheart. So but it's really hard to explain. I think if you don't have a good support system like that, it just wouldn't work. And Tanya has always been incredibly supportive, and she's always right there on the front lines. And she's the one that's having to deal with my somber moments. I mean, there are dark moments. Yeah. You know how it is. Life is hard sometimes. But yeah, having it's so interesting because I feel like my whole thing is trying to be a cheerleader and an encourager and an inspirer because there's too many negative Nancys in the world. Yeah. And I look at it, I'm like, that's exactly what Tanya is for me. Like, she's doing that.
You're inspiring.
I wish I had an easy answer, but I think it's just having a good support system and that people that are encouraging. Because, as you know, with the arts, it's tough. You grow up watching movies. I've loved movies all my life. And you do get caught in that bubble of like, you sometimes don't realize, well, for every one person that makes it, there's 20,000 that don't,
Yeah.
You just try to carve your niche and do what you can. I mean, the stuff we're doing, we're not Sundance, we're not South by, we're not the Cannes Film Festival, but in our own way, we're trying to help create this thing in our backyard and give people that sort of that magical thing that like we grew up on.
That's good. Sounds really good.
Yeah, good support system. That's what it's all
very
about.
Important. I've noticed that as well. It's one of those things where you feel like I can easily answer this, but I just want to get your perspective on it. Like, I look at it. You've got a lot of friends, support. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Sheldon Demke. Like, he's such a great close friend of yours.
Even Dan Bringhurst.
Good
heck, so many people.
Emily Holt would just bend over backwards to help.
100%. This is why one of the things that's really tough is I just wish I could write down a list of names because
that's exactly how I feel.
It sucks because you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings if you can't read the whole list. It's so scary naming a couple of people because you don't want to forget everyone else. And you know how it is, like all the projects you've done. And dude, I look at what you're doing and I'm in awe of it because now you're doing the comedy thing now. You're still writing. Yeah. You've dabbled in theater. You've got your 9-to-5. You've got your family. It's
my midlife crisis.
Well,
no, it's not. And it really is a motivator.
It is.
It is. I'm like,
I'm 45.
It is. Like,
and
I gotta get going.
Yeah, and it helps keep your sanity. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can still. Who knows?
And I'm having a great
break
time.
in.
Like,
of course,
this is fun.
That's what it's all about.
Just chatting with you. It's fun.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that, again, I don't think you can have too many podcasts. I find myself getting hooked on so many podcasts. Right. Now I'm adding this one it.
We'll see how that goes.
So, yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you're working on right now that you'd love to just talk about really quick and something to look forward to in the near future?
Well, I mean, we've got, it's just ever moving. We've got so much stuff happening. We just added a screenplay group to the mix. I think I invited you to one. Scripties. It's Andrew Hansen. And they've got a group called The Nest. So they're doing these screenplay workshops 2 times a month where you can just go over there and you can share your ideas, get input. And it's just more valuable stuff to help people get motivated and to, rather than talking about it, doing it, and that it's the first step scary. I can see why somebody doesn't want to make a movie because they're afraid. I even have that. And I think that, you just need to do your best, discipline yourself to don't knock yourself down. You have more worth than you think you do. Right. And for God's sakes, you're going to make mistakes. That's what life is. And you're going to do that in the art world too. But we have the Scripties stuff happening. We've got Horror Fest coming up. all these different film events. And then on the side, I'm trying to write again, like dabble in the screenplay stuff a little. Yeah, like I said, it's hard because of all the stuff that we're doing. It's just a lot.
And
you
have the time for that.
But at the same time, I don't want to make excuses. I watch guys like Joe DeGoye. They did their feature length Guerrilla, their run and gun feature film projects and all that stuff, which I'm sure Austin's going to talk about, which was so freaking inspirational.
Because
these guys have got their lives. You were in one of the films, and they still went and did it. Like you can make the time if you reprioritize and so forth, and don't be so hard on yourself. If you write a script and it's, and you're not happy with it, get the first draft of paper, write the first draft with your heart, and then you can use your brain to fine tune it. Just get it. Just do it.
Started.
Just do it.
So, okay. Well, a lot of these things that we can find you on, is it at fmasu.com?
Correct. Yeah. And everything that we do is on there.
And then another website, because we didn't get to it, but you do have another website, cinemas.net.
Right, which is kind of a film review site, which, because we've been doing all this other stuff, has suffered a little, but we have some fun, we'll cover Sundance and CinemaCon and different events, and I'll throw movie reviews up there. I don't write as many movie reviews as I used to because of all the other stuff that we've been doing. And but we still love that site. And that's sort of under the FMASU umbrella also.
And then would we also find information on Desert-Ep3 International Film Festival under the FMASU.com?
Along with Horror Fest, plus the Electric Film Series stuff is on there.
Perfect.
And we did have, we've talked about, ironically, bringing a podcast back, but we'll push that down the line because there's so much going on. In the meantime, I do love to support stuff like this.
I appreciate you coming and supporting us.
No, it's fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Well, that brings us to the end of another amazing episode of the Never Ready podcast. We have with us Adam Mast. You're amazing. Always wonderful to talk to.
Right back at you.
You're just so easy to talk to. So
right back at you.
It's not going to be the hardest thing to bring you back.
Good. So I won't say no. I'm a yes man.
Wonderful. Check them out. All his information can be found at fmasu.com and cinemas.net. Thank you again for coming today. My name is Christian Navarrete. You guys have a great day.
Never ready, light it up. Let it breathe, let it show. Art is never really ready if you never let it go. Christian Navarrete to bring new stars in view. The names you don't know yet,
but soon enough you will. It's the Never Ready Podcast.